Okay, so Dizzy and Lacovara's Marketing Ninjas. We're on with Peter Lisoskie, uh, pusher of and owner of Chatbot, which is a great tool. I thought I'd do this interview for my group and my Facebook page and my YouTube channel and your YouTube channel. And I checked out your podcast and a lot of your radio stations, and you got some real good content. So let's start off with how long have you been in the business?
You mean in online, offline, or what?
Well, online business. We're all online here.
I've been in the online business probably for the last 17 years. I have an incubator too, and we develop a lot of products. I just saw a long time ago, Ian, that really I did a lot of product development in the hardware space, as a mechanical engineer, but everything was moving to digital, right? So with the internet and then all of these technologies and the digital economy and being able to access people worldwide, it was pretty cool. So I started my trip kind of in year 2000.
Oh, okay.
That's when it all began. Yeah.
Has it all been good? Have you had your ups and downs, or?
Oh man, I've had a few successes and a lot of failures. It's I'm just gonna be honest with people. When you're in business, I don't care whether it's bricks and mortar or it's online. You run into a lot of challenges and a lot of failures, and hey, that helps you learn. I kind of look at failures as the way to rapidly learn and get better and better. So
right,
I've had a couple successes along the way too, which has been good. So,
but you know what they say: you can't be a boss unless you take a loss.
Yeah, that's right. That's a good one. I like that.
I do content, and I do funnels and things like that, and I've had a lot of failures, and I've had some really good things work out. So I understand that completely. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your chatbot. I'm so fond of actually.
Yeah. Well, the story. It's the group I have that you're in, and how we kind of met each other is Chatbot Nation. And I started looking at chatbots. They've been around about a decade. This is not like something brand new. But the problem is chatbots really were limited in what they could do, right, Ian? And so it was, there was a couple things that really kind of drove me to, okay, this is something that's going to be, I track mega trends, and this is going to be big. One of them was business intelligence came out a little bit before Facebook, but they came out in 2015, and I saw this chart, and it's in the mini webinar I'm going to do today, where they reported that they did a study and they found out that more people were using messaging apps like Facebook Messenger and WhatsApp and Kik and Slack than they actually were using social media sites, even Facebook. And Facebook came out and said the same thing. So all of the big, social media sites like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn, people are messaging more and spending more time messaging now that they're actually on social media sites. Yeah. So that was piece number one. And that kind of sunk in my head, and I started doing some research and trying to see where this whole thing was. Right. And then this last November, Facebook had the F8 conference, and they came out and they announced that they were going to open up Facebook Messenger for chatbots. Now that's big because you have over 1 billion people on Facebook, right?
I think it's like 1.6 billion, somewhere around.
Yeah, 1.6. So it's a lot. I mean, you guys all know.
Too. So
what was that?
It's on a monthly basis too. It's not like it's total. Every month you got 1.6 billion people interacting with Facebook, and that's just Facebook. That's not the 3.2 or 3.3 billion people on YouTube on a monthly basis. So it's really, really huge. So go ahead.
So that was no, that's good. I appreciate you jumping in there. Basically, we all know that's a huge opportunity, and that's when I really started diving in. So what I did is I have a couple businesses. I have a bricks and mortar, and it's a massage wellness center. So your typical retail, right? Retail service business, right? We do massage, we do facials, things like that. And then I also have a couple online businesses. So I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start testing this and see what this is all about. Because at that time, even in December, January, I mean, we kind of still are way out here in the weeds. This is like, early adopter type stuff.
Right.
But, there was nobody I could turn to. There was no experts because we're all of us guys, and even the experts were still trying to figure out how to use this stuff too.
That's because real businessmen stay in the trenches.
Yeah. Yeah. So I started testing this stuff, and what kind of blew me away, I'll give you an example. You know, and we'll talk about chatbot strategies and marketing systems, because that's what people really need. But one of the marketing systems I did is I did a contest for our massage wellness center. So I said, hey, I did Facebook ads, so you can do Facebook Messenger ads. And I said, if you want to win the contest of a free massage,
right,
go ahead and click on this button, which took them into Messenger. And then they had to either type in win or click on a button, and then that subscribed them. Okay. Now, here's where it gets kind of cool. So, typically in email, if we get open rates of like around 20%, that's really good. And maybe if you have a hyper responsive, you might get 40%. But, if you get 2 to 4% click-through rates, well, what was happening is I was getting over 90% open rates and over 40% click-through rates for this contest. I have never seen anything like that. I was like, wow, this is like pretty incredible.
Well, it's not just that. A lot of times your email, see, I do all the integration. So a lot of times your email never goes to the right spot. Now, the statistics of email, even beyond what you're saying of the click-through rates, is if it goes to the social tab, or it goes to the promotion tab, or it goes into the update tab, it actually shrinks it by 50%, because nobody really wants, that's where all your junk goes. Those are actually like your new spam folder, unless you know how to configure your G Suite or your Gmail or your Yahoo or your AOL or whatever it is you use. So if you know how to configure it, you can port certain messages into certain tabs. But just configuring something like ClickFunnels, I use Actionetics personally, and I set up these action funnels, and the action funnels, depending where they're delivered, kind of influence your click-through rate too. So I totally understand that.
Yeah.
90% is insane.
It is insane. Well, and here's where it got, so that was like, that caught my attention, right? And then the next thing that happened was, so I got this idea. I said, well, I want to find out, because a lot of people, just kind of continuing with the massage wellness center. So people come to our wellness center for typically one of three reasons. So they're coming because they're in pain. They're coming because they're an athlete and they want to, have optimized performance, or they're really stressed, right? So what I did is because in these chatbots, I was using ManyChat, you can actually do these things called triggers. And what that does is when they're there, they can drive their experience. But I started asking them, okay, so tell me a little bit about your body, your situation. Are you in pain? Are you an athlete? Or are you really stressed? And based on that, then you can put these little triggers, and you can segment your audience, right?
Exactly.
So when we got to a point where then they went through the chatbot was working 24/7. They went down their path, and then I took them over to my website page, and I did a little quiz. So like if they were in pain, I would take them through this quiz that would say, okay, so take the quiz and learn about how to manage your pain, right? And then I gave them a pain guide. But the thing that's really cool is what we're doing is, like I talked to you about, is number one, the user gets to drive the experience, but number two, we can segment them. So we're talking to somebody about what they want to know about, right? And that was the power in this whole thing.
Well, that's the ultimate power, to be able to take your message and show it in front of the optimal customer, the optimal message. I mean, you show a Pinto to someone that likes Lamborghinis, they're going to report you as a spammer, because nobody wants to see that, and you're driving around in a Lambo. So, I like your chatbot. I went through the whole process. I like how you have your webinar, then you had your Facebook group page, and then you had your ebook, then you had a couple of questions. Every now and then it'll just trigger and hey, how you doing? Good morning. Got it. So that's actually pretty cool. It gives it a human touch, which is very important with your marketing strategy, the personal touch. I mean, I go to a bank up the street, and I go to another bank, and when I went to that bank, they were just like, hi, how you doing? I changed my bank to the bank up the street, because when I walk in there, it's like, hey, Ian, how you doing? So, it makes me feel special in a weird way. It's just human nature at its best. So,
it's really, that's a key point I want to talk about here for a second, because I have my, you met my chatbot, Chase the chatbot, right?
I did.
And like I said, he's kind of this little snarky, humorous guy, right? he's a bot and people know he is, but it puts a human touch, like you said, and it does recognize people. Like you can put in their first name and things like that, or you could pop in and go, hey, what's going on, right? But it catches people off guard, and they're like, wow, this is kind of cool. And I'll tell you what was so funny, Ian, is I have had so many people, I know they're kind of kid with me, but they're asking me questions going, so am I talking to Chase or am I talking to you?
You know what? I think I've asked that question once.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I was never really, I knew about bots. And
yeah.
like you said, when they first came out, they were very limited functionality wise. Now, you know, the possibilities are just endless. So, you know, I still think automation is very, very important. And the bot allows you to do this. I mean, you know, your program, your 5-day bot challenge, you know, going through the challenge, it's actually pretty cool because there's no second guessing what you're doing. It's pretty much laid out. You know, you list this and you list that and you list this and you set your foundation.
Yeah.
And do this. And then like my best part is the segmentation of it all. You can lead your people to where they need to go. You're paying people, you're this people, you're that people. And then the contest. The contest is great because I'm about to do my contest and I'm going to give away a free gaming computer. And
Oh, cool.
Pretty much around the same thing you were doing with the, you know, type win and it brings you there and then
yeah
you get the subscribers. So I guess my next question would be for someone like me who's actually building a membership site right now for learning and for also content creation. It's not really that easy to do. A lot of people, they feel like, you know, you can just make your membership site and you provide some value and people will buy it and come by, but that's not really how it works. So why don't we talk about that just a little bit? Because, you know, you're the guy with the experience, you know. So.
Sure. Well, you know, there's a lot of little tricks. I'll back up to kind of just talk really key. Square one really is, and this is where bots come in, is you got to know who your customer is, who you're talking to. I mean, if you look at my board back there, is we're now segmenting people into a webinar that's specific to them, to what they want, right? The same thing for the membership sites as well. So I use, there's a lot of really good, I mean, there's Kajabi. I use ClickFunnels just because I've been with Russell Brunson stuff for a long time. I know. Yeah. And so, you know, this is back, you know, several years ago. I built websites and I built membership sites, but you had to know HTML coding and CSS and all this crazy stuff.
JavaScript,
you know, right?
Yeah.
So, but now it's gotten a lot easier because it's more like Legos. It's kind of the drag and drop. But I will say, first of all, is, you know, the bot can help you pre-qualify. Know who you're speaking to first when you're presenting that membership site, and then the next thing is really, it's about developing the content, right? It's about the message.
Content is very important.
Before you actually, it's like I say with the chatbots, it's not about ManyChat, the processes or tools. It's about the strategy and knowing who your customer is. So what I do is first, I develop the videos, I develop the content of what I'm trying to, and a sequence of that, right? So it makes sense, kind of like the 5-day challenge, so that when somebody comes in cold, you really got to, it's not, like
you're warming up to your customer base, basically.
Yeah, you got to talk to them, but you also have to keep it easy enough where they can follow along, right? Because it's very easy to like get like, I'm the same way as you. It's like you can get like super technical, get into all this detail, and people are like rolling their eyes at the back of their head, going, "Man,
their head turns sideways and their eyes glaze over. And they're like, "Oh, you're speaking hieroglyphics to me right now."
Yeah. Totally well, and you know, here's the thing. The one thing I want to point out, because I know a lot of different, you know, big name people out in the field that are doing different courses, and what's happening now is people they're having a drop in sales. People are getting coursed out, and the reason is because everybody's in overwhelm. And so really the other thing about your course you got to think about is it's not just about delivering content and going, okay, here I have this, now buy it and go learn it, right? Because the dirty little secret is over 75% of the people never finish a course.
Well, I think it's a little higher than that.
Well, yeah, I've heard different numbers. I'm being conservative. I've heard up to 90%. But
what I've heard was only about 1 to 2% of all people that take training courses. Okay, they actually have a study on this. Only 1 to 2% actually become super successful at what they're doing. I mean, right now in the game of learning platforms, you only really have 6 or 7 people that are really doing it big. They're like 7 figures a month, and they got all these followings. And I mean, you look at Russell Brunson. Russell Brunson, he's the king of selling little things. Little things. It's not a bunch of big things. It's a bunch of little things. But a lot of these training platforms, they frown against little things. They say you'll never make any money selling little things. But that's not really true. It's the amount of little things. See, another demographic is if you have 2,000 people following you in a group, your people should be good for at least $1 per person per month. That's kind of the rule of thumb if you're doing your job correctly and not making it overly complex. Now, something else you didn't touch on is the importance of the value of the person you're talking to. You got to make sure your lead is a good lead. Anybody could come through, click a bot, be like, yes, yes, yes. You could ask one question, are you interested? But if you don't go further than that, like yourself do, if you don't go further than that, you don't know the quality of your lead, which is also very, very important. You don't want to waste hours talking to somebody that has no intention of learning or doing anything. And it's kind of sad. You got to, as a business owner myself, you know, I got my brick and mortar. It's sad when I train somebody and then they go out and they do their own thing anyway. They don't take anything I trained them on and use it, and then they complain that they didn't know how to do it. But you could have asked questions, you could have messaged, you could have emailed, you could have texted.
Yeah.
People don't do that. They don't.
You're exactly right. And that's where I was moving to, is now we're getting into this learn and do. And that's the 5-day challenges. I took a tack, and today I'm going to be doing a Facebook Live webinar. Now, I'm out there. I don't know. A lot of people like do standard webinars with like Webinar Jam and go to webinar. I'm doing one live. We're trying all kinds of different things here with people, but the whole learn and do concept, I think really, and you got to break it down and let them learn, but then do something right away. Because then they get some satisfaction. They build the confidence like, oh, okay. That's why we did the 5-day challenge, where people can actually go through and they can learn and then do at their own pace. And they're actually building something that works, right? So it's not just a course. You're exactly right. I mean, I know that it's not hard to get an email or get a messenger subscriber. What's hard is to get the sale, right? To convert them over. And you got to provide that value. And that's my strategy as well. The value is by learning and doing, helping you and everyone else. We've got a couple hundred people in our first pass of our 5-day challenge to actually like build something. So they go, okay, I get this, because what you're trying to do is they have like you and anybody else, right? You came in because you have a pain or a challenge. You're trying to figure something out. And what I'm trying to do is get you over to a what's next, right? What is the solution? And so this is why I did the 5-day and the membership, because I wanted to help you uncover, okay, here is the pain. Here's how I can do this. But at the end of 5 days, it's like, okay, I built this. Now what's next? Well, what's next is the chatbot strategies and marketing systems, which all business people need to have systems, right, and strategies
you got
to grow their business.
Sales script, you got to have your sales system, you got to have your management system, you got to have your monitoring system. I mean, yes, it's all about automation, definitely.
Mm-hmm. So, that's the whole idea with this, with the chatbots and the membership sites, is it helps leverage my time like yours, because we can't be messaging people all day. We have our businesses to run, right? We can't be on there teaching live all day long. So we utilize these different tools. And the other thing that's nice is, if you notice, like with my 5-day challenge, I'm up on Facebook Live every single day during the 5 days. So what that does is people can actually, they're seeing me in the video, they're seeing me live, but they get to know me, right, through video, like you did, right?
Well, yeah.
So I'm not just typing, you're actually getting to see me.
This is true, but that's because when you sign, me personally, I'm a major purchaser of learning platforms. Okay, I've spent in excess of like $39,000 on learning platforms. Okay,
yeah,
I'm not buying the learning platform. I am buying the experience. I am buying the skill set. And the higher your skill set, like Warren Buffett says, the higher your skill set, the more purchasing power you have, and the more you're worth to sell your product. Now, one thing I want to touch on, which I don't see a lot of people touch on, I mean, they talk about you have to educate, you have to entertain, you have to provide value. But what I think is really important, and it's something I see you do all the time, is in your video, in your 5-day bot challenge, you'll talk in your video, and somewhere in between, maybe a third of the way in, maybe half of the way in, you say something to kind of keep your audience interested, kind of keep them amped up and excited about the situation. So why don't we talk about that a little bit? How important and how easy or hard is it to do that? Because a lot of people don't understand. They get all this knowledge, they get all this information about how to set this up and how to run your ads and how to run your funnels and how to set up your integrations and how to send out your email campaigns, because emails are important. But wait, emails ain't important. Text works better. But wait, text don't work better. Live works better. But it's the interest that you have to keep generated. So how do you accomplish that? And how easy or hard is it?
You know, that's a great question. I think there's really no process to it other than here. What I know, because we do a lot of in my incubator, so we do a lot of neuroscience research, and
Right.
I work with a neuroscientist in London, England. He's one of the top ones. And what I'll tell you guys most simply is you have to do what are called brain interrupters. Like, here's an example, Ian. If you and I were talking and there was some kind of discussion going on, if I wanted to take the lead of the conversation again, all I have to do is do this one thing, and that is, hey, Ian, can I ask you a question?
Look, yes.
And then you pause, right? And you go, well, yeah. So this is a brain interrupter. So I use those kinds of things to keep people in where maybe they're like veering off, like thinking about something else, or now they're over looking at their Facebook or whatever. So I'll integrate those, and it's just really something that would be interesting that would stop them. Go, what? Wait, what did he say? Right, and that gets them re-engaged. I'm doing it in an authentic way because I really believe in chatbots and what this can do for people's businesses. So I'm bringing them back into the conversation. It's just like in a webinar, you have to ask questions and keep people engaged. Now I can have comments, and people do comment during my Facebook Live. And I do ask people, I'm going to do that today when I do my mini webinar today. But you got to kind of keep them engaged, but you got to be, really, really relevant, and you got to do these interrupters, right? And keep them going. Sometimes cracking a joke, or sometimes saying, you know what, have you ever thought about it this way, right? I try to get them, to think about it. Yeah. And then they go, because here's the thing. What you ultimately have to do in whether it's a webinar, a Facebook Live event, a membership site, is they have to go do two things. Number one, they have to go, wow, I mean, he was like saying exactly what I was thinking, right? And the other thing you got to do is you have to get to where they're going, you know what? That is me. That's just like me. What he's bringing up, that's the problem I have in my business, or that's the challenge I have, or that's, what I was thinking about. And when you do that, now you have that engagement, right?
That's what that segmentation and the demographic.
Yeah.
People lead the conversation. That's very important because it allows you to do this in a much simpler way, as opposed to, like cold calling, for example. If I were to call you up and, hey, Peter, how's it going? I saw your 5-bot challenge and we're talking on the phone. There's so many more variables that can go wrong. Whereas I'm on the screen and I'm on my cam and I'm on the live webinar and I'm doing the bot challenge and I got my 2 screens and I got the training and I got what I'm doing here and I can kind of look at both of them. And just when I feel like, I might be doing something wrong, you'll say something like the brain interrupters, like you were saying, and I go, whoa, oh, that made sense. Okay. It's like connecting the dots, which is awesome. Yeah. Who doesn't like to connect the dots? I like to connect the dots. So,
Yeah, there's and I know you've taken a lot of Russell Brunson stuff. I mean, his perfect webinar, he has a lot of really good stuff in there, no doubt. And he talks about that. We talk about what we call belief busters. And here's the thing is, everybody has a perception. Like, I'll give you an example because I got this in Messenger. People were asking me when they're going, through and they're trying to find out whether they wanted to get into the 5-day challenge. One of the common beliefs was, oh, this is too technical for me. I don't think I'll be able to do this.
I get that all the time.
Yeah, so we do. So, right, so there's a belief that has to be busted, right? So these belief busters, and if you notice in some of my videos I've done on the Chatbot Nation in Facebook Live videos, I've talked about that, right? I address the beliefs that need to be busted because they have to understand that, yes, you do have time for this. Yes, it's not too technical. You can do this. This is why we did the 5-day challenge, because I'm proving to them that, yeah, you can pull this off. You can have a working chatbot. And once they do that, they know, okay, I can do it. Now, what's next? how do I actually get this in my business, right?
Yeah, and it also builds their confidence.
And it builds their confidence, right?
What I like to tell people as far as technology and various smart devices are concerned are, I find that people get intimidated because, you're in front of this thing called a smart device, a personal computer, and it's capable of doing so much, right? You can make websites, you can make algorithms, you can make bots, you can make so many things, and people get intimidated by it. But the truth is, a computer, smartphone, all the rest of these electronics, they were made by somebody just like you. They had the idea, they had a strategy, they had the implementation, they had the design team, they got it all put together, and boom, smart device. So, that's it's all the same process. See, we're not into reinventing the wheel. We're into duplicating and using what works currently. And like you said earlier, you focus on mega trends. Okay, everybody talks about trends, and you got to know what's in, what's out. And that a lot of people find that very difficult to do. What's a good avenue to figure out what a trend is for your particular niche or market?
Well, first it starts with kind of what you're passionate about, right? And then from that, there's lots of different sources. I'll give you, one that I use all the time, and it's on my smartphone here. It's a little app called Flipboard, and I have like different segments and articles, and I can go through 15 minutes a day, and I can kind of see what's going on in innovation or nanotechnology or energy or the chatbots. And so I can flip through and go, okay, that's interesting. And so this is a way where I keep up on it. I think going to conferences is another good thing, because you can go attend and you can network with people and you can find out kind of what's going on, what's state of the industry, right? I think like you're doing with a podcast where you bring people on and interview some of the industry leaders. There's always different ways to find out kind of where things are going. And then, like you said, you got to put the dots together. So I guess maybe what I'm okay or pretty good at is I can see, okay, we're here, but this is where it could be here, right? So it's like, where is this going, and how do I get in at the beginning and help pull people along with me, right? And that's the whole idea of what we're doing with the membership site that's coming up, is everybody that's jumping in on that. Is there going to be a lot of learning? Yeah. Is the chatbot market and artificial intelligence going to change rapidly? Yeah. But that's the whole idea, is to help people digest it down and keep it simple, almost copy and paste so they can learn and do.
Right. Because you establish the foundation, and once you have the foundation, it doesn't matter how much it changes. It just mildly changes. Like they'll make it look different, or they'll take certain words out. They'll take certain functionality out and add other things according to the current demographic. The sad part is, once something really gets to where it's mainstream, it's outdated, and there's something else in the back end coming up. Everybody's talking about in the training now. Everybody's talking about ClickFunnels. Everybody's talking about lead pages, MailChimp, various SMS programs, things like that. Nobody has really even got into detail like you about the bot strategy. Okay, some of the best people in the game right now, they talk about it. They briefly touch upon it, like this is an option, this is a possibility, but they don't get in depth with, you can go here and we can train you on this, we can train you on that. It's always something left out. So I think we would be wrapping this up right about now. My last thing would be, I'm on with Peter Lisoskie, owner of the Bot Challenge, and where can they find you?
They can just go over to the Facebook group. If you type it in the search at the top, Chatbot Nation. I have a Facebook business page, but the one you want to go to is just go to the closed group. So the Chatbot Nation closed group, and click on join. And then we'll jump in there. And then from there, you can get the free chatbot guide that I have, a beginner's guide to chatbot marketing. You can jump into the 5-day challenge. We're going to have another one of those in the future. You can get in on the webinar and learn a lot more about, it's a workshop actually, about what these chatbots are all about. And I'm going to be having articles in Facebook. It's a good place to start. And that's kind of where we hang out. I do have a website. It's chatbotnation.co. But I'd say come over to the Facebook group, because there's dynamic. There's a lot of things there that and comments. People are starting to engage and interact. We have about 2,500 members in there, and it's growing every day. So that's where I'd go. is the Chatbot Nation group.
All right. Well, I'm a member of the group, and I do believe we have day 5 of our challenge coming up in about 10, 20 minutes.
Yeah, I got to get over there.
That just shows you what kind of drive entrepreneurs need to have to actually become successful. So in closing, I got Peter Lisoskie, Chatbot Nation, got Ian Lacovara's Marketing Ninjas, and I can't leave my boy out, Chino Designs, NYC. He does branding and logos and things like that. And I'm going to be doing a lot more of these podcasts and interviews in the future. I'm trying to work out a bunch of things. You know, Russell Brunson's ignoring me. He's kind of busy, so it's okay. But it's been great. You gave us a lot of useful information, and maybe we do this again sometime on your
podcast. I'd love to.
On your radio station.
Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it, Ian.
Yeah, not a problem. Thank you very much, Peter.
All right, man. We'll see you guys.
Bye.